The 60s is best known for the political and cultural impact on America.
From the U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War to the Beatles who changed music in the United States and around the world.
Many remember the 60s for the assassinations of President Kennedy and his brother Robert Kennedy.
But also for the impact of civil rights leaders like Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, and President Lyndon Johnson and Freedom Summer.
As the 60s came to a close, there was social revolution as the youthful hippies participated in the Woodstock Festival and protests around the country.
In 1969, for the first time in history, a human being sets foot on the moon.
Here come the minnows to sing a few hits from the 60s.
The 1970s picked up where the 60s left off, increasing tensions between capitalist and communist countries. 5 more years of the Vietnam War and political unrest.
Many remember the 1970s for the Watergate scandal and the resignation of President Nixon and the oil crisis.
But fans from the 1970s fondly remember disco fever for the birth of modern computing. VCRs, what's that? The airing of Saturday Night Live for the first time and the blockbuster's release of Jaws. Here come the sea stars to give us some disco fever.
Ah, the 80s. The world would see the end of the Cold War era, and by the end of this decade, the Berlin Wall would come down.
It's also the MTV decade, the king of pop, Madonna, and Prince ruled the airwaves, and E.T. was the highest grossing film of the decade.
And who could forget losing the Beatles star John Lennon?
But the 80s is also about pop culture, Walkmans, boomboxes, and mobile phones the size of footballs.
The regular Nintendo, unfinished Rubik's Cubes, and the 86 Mets!
Many people can remember exactly where they were the day Space Shuttle Challenger exploded on national TV. Here come the dolphins to sing the hits of the 80s.
The 1990s brought a booming economy and the dot-com era, the Gulf War, and famous Bronco chase.
If you asked a lot of our counselors, the greatest decade is the 90s. Who can argue with cable TV, dial-up internet? Mom, I need to get off the phone. I need to use AOL.
Plus, 90s wonders like the DVDs, CDs, and a Discman. Still, what are those Tamagotchis saved by the bell and boy bands?
Here to sing some of the hits of the 90s are the Orcas.
The 2000s was the start of a new millennium. It was the decade that gave us Facebook, the iPhone, and other cultural and political milestones.
The first smartphones were released, and broadband and mobile internet began connecting more and more people.
The email started replacing the postal service, and the way we listen to music changed too. Downloading MP3s replaced CDs.
We reached the surface of Mars in 2004, and at the end of the decade, we inaugurated America's first Black President, Barack Obama, in 2009. Taking us back
to the 2000s is the Barracudas.
Ah, finally, we are back in modern times. 2010 would officially start the selfie decade. Instagram, Snapchat, duck flip selfies in the age of instant access.
Technology continued to wow us, bringing us 3D printers, self-driving cars, drones, and even better cell phones.
Instant gratification brought us Netflix and Amazon, but sadly brought an end to Blockbusters and Toys R Us.
Google, it officially becomes a verb.
Here to sing some of today's hits are the Maze.